Who will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2024 on WrestleMania 40 weekend in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania? I've got 7 predictions for you now that I'm going to give, and I'd like to know who you think will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Let me know your picks in the comments below. Going to start with none other than Paul Heyman, someone who's no stranger to Philadelphia, of course. When you go back to the classic 90s promotion, he was running ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, of course, was a big heavy influence on the wrestling industry through the 90s, and it's actually spanned through to today, bringing in different wrestling styles and of course a different philosophy, more attitude into wrestling, of course more violence. You wouldn't see weapons so much back in the sort of early safe 90s of a WWF or a WCW. Of course that changed with the way that ECW brought things into town. Your tables, your ladders, your chairs, your hardcore spots were influenced through Paul Heyman and that vision of ECW. And let's not forget, Paul Heyman has not been a stranger to making history in WWE either. After ECW folded, he's been, well, a best friend, he's been an advocate, and of course he's been a wise man, managing some of the top talents over the last 20 years. Of course Brock Lesnar, he's managed CM Punk, and of course currently an advocate for Roman Reigns in the Bloodline, of course one of the top storylines in WWE over the last 3 decades. For me, Paul Heyman, a shoo-in for the WWE Hall of Fame. I think the location is right to do it as well. Do I have him as the headline act? No, I do not, but I certainly think that he will be one of the top acts that will go in this year. And as we're talking things extreme, well, I think perhaps an extreme wrestler should go in with Paul Heyman. Someone that fits the WWE mold as well, someone that's actually been a WrestleMania main eventer. I think Bam Bigelow would be a great shout. Sadly, Bam no longer with us, but his legacy and influence will always be remembered. And of course, he's been an inspiration to many superstars as well. Certainly the big men in this sport. You've got to look today at the big men that they can move around. Bam Bigelow was one of a kind that could do that back in the 80s and the 90s. And of course, he has main evented a WrestleMania, like I say, WrestleMania 11 against Lawrence Taylor, of course an NFL star. Of course the crossover at that point of, you know, mainstream celebrity coming on to take on a wrestler, something we see more frequently now in the modern day of professional wrestling. We see the likes of a Bad Bunny or a Logan Paul coming in, Johnny Knoxville a couple of years ago as well. I mean, Bam was one of the originals when that went down, so for me Bam would be a natural shout to go into the Hall of Fame. Moving on next then, Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man. I'd love to see him actually inducted into the Hall of Fame, one of my favourite wrestlers in the 90s, but also he's recently signed a Legends contract, reportedly with WWE. Now what could that mean? Could that mean a Royal Rumble appearance? Could that mean perhaps maybe action figures? Could it mean appearing in WWE 2K games? Could it also mean a Hall of Fame induction? Ken Shamrock, like I say, the world's most dangerous man, brought the tap out into WWE, and pro wrestling changed it forever when the ankle lock came in. Just felt legitimate when Ken Shamrock was about. You really felt like this guy was crazy the way he was going. And of course recently he has gone into the Impact Wrestling Hall of Fame, of course TNA once again now, and of course at that point he did have The Rock induct him. Could The Rock induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame? Time will tell. Maybe it's not the last time you hear the great one mentioned in this video. Someone else who's actually had a Legends contract reportedly given to them in WWE is the Headbangers. Of course, unique with their own offense and the way that they looked in the 90s. They also had a brief run in 2016 in the company. They're a former WWF Tag Team Champions as well on one occasion. I think they would be a fun addition to the Hall of Fame. Certainly would be interesting to hear their stories of their run in the company. And also they have done some great work outside of WWE as well. Next inductee, I've gone for AJ Lee, because, well, CM Punk is back in WWE, and while he's there, let's get AJ Lee in the Hall of Fame. Of course, at one time, she was the longest reigning Divas champion in history. She carried that division for quite a while on her shoulders, and certainly was a standout in the time she was in WWE, of course, retiring after WrestleMania 31 in 2015. I think she would be a good addition to the Hall of Fame. I actually think she'd be a great surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble as well. But for me, I'd like to see AJ Lee enter the Hall of Fame. Next we go to the headline acts. I've got 2 headline acts for you. I'm going to start off with the number 1. I mentioned him earlier in the video, The Rock. Because, well, look, The Rock is not in the Hall of Fame. How is The Rock not in the Hall of Fame? Well, probably it's because of the fact that you need to nail The Rock down for a WrestleMania weekend to do so. The last time The Rock was at a WrestleMania weekend and competing was a WrestleMania 32. So if The Rock versus Roman Reigns is going to happen at WrestleMania 40, You should tie in everything in one go. Have The Rock be the headline for the Hall of Fame. It would sell out instantly. It would be very newsworthy, headlines, everything that WWE loves with this kind of stuff. And you never know when The Rock is going to be available for a WrestleMania weekend again after this. With Hollywood back in play, The Rock has been busy for what it feels like the last 20 years or so, when he's had most WrestleManias not being there. I can only think of a handful he has been appearing at. So I think if he's at this one, it possibly would be his last match if he was to go against Roman Reigns. Therefore, as well, I think it would be appropriate to put him in the Hall of Fame as the headline act. And I think certainly it would do everything that WWE wants it to do and a hell of a lot more. And the last name that I'm going to mention for the Hall of Fame, also going to be a top headliner for induction, is going to be none other than Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. Now, of course, this is dependent on perhaps whether his family are ready for, him to be put into the Hall of Fame. Bray was, larger than life character, was someone that really influenced a lot of people in his time in WWE, was a special character, with his original Eater of Worlds, moving on to The Fiend after that, and of course his latest reincarnation of Bray Wyatt coming in, of course, with the Uncle Howdy stuff in the last year of his career. Arguably as well one of the best returns ever in wrestling history at Extreme Rules 2022. The way it was brought back with such class, dignity, and of course the reaction from the crowd. Bray is someone that knew how to inspire people, how to keep people glued with what he was doing. His promos were mesmerizing backstage. His, in-ring work always had people watching as well. Some great matches along the way with people like, Daniel Bryan springs to mind, with his program in 2014. John Cena was one of my favorite rivalries to see him have as well. When he returned as The Fiend, obviously he knew how to connect the character into the performance as well. And obviously Bray is truly and sorely missed, and like I say, timing is everything for this. It has to be done in a tasteful way. If he's going to be inducted, it needs the blessing of the family for it to do so. But I would hope that Bray Wyatt would go into the WWE Hall of Fame. And I think it's a matter of when, not if. And the question is, will it be this year or another year? But I will predict, I think it'll be this year. I think that it's a celebration of his life, celebration of his achievements and hard work. And I think that it will be very, very special if that moment is granted. So that's my predictions there for the WWE Hall of Fame 2024. Let me know what you think of those names. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree? Let me know who you want to see inducted in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. On the road to WrestleMania, so plenty of videos will be on the channel, including Royal Rumble season, which we're in right now. So check out these videos on the side of your screen right now. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.